Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Tim Aker.
Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Are you good?
Yes.
Do you remember last year? Was it a heavy one? Last year, our leader, Nigel Farage, said we were going to cause a political earthquake in the United Kingdom. The commentators, those beacons of wisdom, said that we weren't going to do it. But by God, did we? And down in South Essex, the tremors are starting again. Thurrock isn't just my constituency, it's my home. I was born there, I lived there, and it's a privilege to serve the people as an MEP. But only in Westminster can we get the change we want. But as an MEP, I spend most of my time dealing with constituency casework, such as the demand from people to have a local representative who will actually be there to listen to their concerns and help them when they can. I say time and again at my public meetings, the politicians are the servants and the people are the masters. I don't promise the earth, but we've got results. And let me give you an example. There was a guy who came to me in despair at the state of his council flat. It was uninhabitable. It stank. Something had gone wrong with the boiler and the plumbing. He tried for help everywhere, but he came to us. We got on the case, and now his flat is clean. He's back there. He's registered to vote, and I'm hoping we can count on his vote next year. This, to me, is what it is all about, being there for people, listening, then acting. We don't promise the earth, but while I have a mandate to represent my community, I will do my utmost to help. But there is only so much that can be done without a change of direction at Westminster. And we in Thurrock know that this country is headed down the wrong path. We've been delivering leaflets and talking to voters for years, and it was quite a welcome poll from Lord Ashcroft that showed that we in Thurrock are on course to take the seat next year. Years of hard work, of talking to people, fighting, inside and outside of election time, we don't stop. And the results were quite incredible. They say that UKIP isn't a party for young people. Well, have I got news for you? 32% of young people in Thurrock are planning to vote for UKIP next year. It's results and polling like that shows that this is what happens, Mr. Miliband, when you take the voters for granted. You cannot just parachute in a candidate, put a red rosette on her, and expect Thurrock voters to do what you want. That is the politics of arrogance, and we've had enough, and we are turning against it. Thurrock voters want a message thundering down the Thames to Westminster, saying to Mr. Cameron, Mr. Miliband, you cannot take us for granted anymore. You are not talking about our issues, and we are going to UKIP. We want control of our borders. We're not putting up with half-hearted, cynical gestures from the Tories that they can secure our borders. You know, when the Tories said they were going to bring net immigration down to the tens of thousands, I'm not surprised that immigration is back up to 250,000 net. But that tells us two things. The first is that we can never again trust our borders with the Conservative Party. Number two, David Cameron can't count. And for Labour to even talk about the subject of immigration, when they opened the doors, when they made my constituents the left behind core, how dare they even mutter the word? Voters in Thurrock know that there is only one game in town. If you want back control of your borders, vote UKIP and vote for me in Thurrock next year. We want to take back control. People don't feel in control of their lives. In Thurrock, we have seen so much change that the people have not voted for. Look at the developments they're trying to do in Averley, building on our greenbelt. We say no. If you oppose the building on the greenbelt, there is only one game in town, and that's UKIP, because we are the ones that will give you the power through a local referendum to say no. We, the people, are in charge. It is our community. We should decide what it looks like. In August, we had an unfortunate incident at Tilbury Docks. 35 migrants crammed themselves into containers in Belgium and docked at Tilbury, and sadly one died. The remaining 34 have since claimed asylum. And as tough as it may seem, I say no. Let me explain why. There are proper rules and proper procedures for claiming asylum. Why did they not claim asylum in the first European country they got to? Under proper asylum rules, you claim asylum in the first safe country you come to. Britain is no longer going to be a soft touch for the rest of the world. And I hope they heard that at Calais. We've had another sad incident at Tilbury. The closure of Tilbury Power Station and hundreds of jobs with it. There were two people that had their hand on the off switch at Tilbury Power Station. One of them was the former Secretary of State for Energy and Climate Change, Ed Miliband. The other is my Labour opponent, his special advisor. Their support for European energy laws and their disregard for jobs in Tilbury have cost us jobs and hurt a community. Shame on them. No wonder Labour are panicking in Thurrock. You cannot parachute in a candidate and expect voters to follow you. They are not Labour voters anymore, they are UKIP voters. If Labour, that used to be the party of working people, if Labour were the party that represented them, why do they support open-door immigration that has pushed wages down? Again, Labour putting the boot into working people. If Labour really cared, then why have they turned a blind eye at the social housing in Thurrock that have been afflicted with mould and damp for so long? It's UKIP now talking about those issues, not Labour. Again, Labour ignoring the British people. If Labour really stood day-to-day concerns, why are their spokesmen going out and saying that my constituents should pay to see their GPs, pay to stay in their hospital beds and pay to use our NHS? Why is it Labour that are the ones that are talking about NHS charges? Again, Labour, a party that turned our National Health Service to an international health service. How dare they lecture us about what we're meant to stand for when their house isn't even in order? Labour isn't working, and they are scared witless. And next May, we are going to show them the door. But it will be tough. They have a very, very formidable election machine. We're going to see lots from the London Labour Party, aside from my Labour opponent, coming down on the trains to spread their normal lies and false promises. But we can go punch for punch. My branch has delivered over 100,000 leaflets in a year. We work 24/7 for our constituents. We are there to help them, as I mentioned, with their issues. And it was another interesting piece from the Ashcroft poll. 31% of voters in Thurrock had remembered receiving information from us and talking to us. And that was higher than any other party in any other constituency. We are the People's Party in Thurrock. And we can do this. We can do this. And we've got no choice but to win next year, because we are the party for people who have nothing, and the party for people who risk losing everything day in and day out. The forgotten, the left behind, my constituents in Thurrock. The old parties, the Reds, the Blues and the Yellows, they have forgotten about us. But next May, we can make Thurrock unforgettable. We can do it. We can make history. And we can look back and say that we are the ones who started the process. We put this country back on the right path. We made people interested in politics again because they have a system that they can believe in, where they can get the change that they want. We can start talking about the issues the British public want their politicians to talk about and the solutions to fix their everyday concerns. We can do it. We can do it. So join us, and together we, in this room, in this party of ours, we can get our country